Hey there, and welcome to this edition of the Create With podcast. It's James here with Kieran.
Hi everyone, good to be back.
Good to be back. Lots of exciting stuff to talk about this week. So obviously there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up with the Create With conference. So we're going to give you a bit of an update on that, and we're also going to go through some of the latest AI and visual development news that's happened over the last month. So there's been quite a lot of exciting news that's come out. But maybe a good place to start is just a couple of quick updates about the Create With conference. That's now just under a month away. So that's happening on the 22nd of May in London at Plexel in the Olympic Park. It's going to be an amazing day. We've got some really, really great speakers and sessions lined up. It's in a fantastic venue. And we've got a couple of new things that we've announced since our last podcast. So, Kieran, maybe you want to talk us a little bit through the new Build Weekend, which is actually happening the week before the conference, and it's kind of an online event that anyone can get involved in, isn't it?
Yeah, so we wanted to do a hackathon like we did last year, but we thought it's a bit much to have it on the same day as the conference because people who want to do both can't do it. So we decided to make it an entire weekend, and it's happening the weekend before the conference, which is the weekend of I think it's 15th and 16th. Is that right? No, that's wrong. It's the weekend of the 17th and 18th.
Yeah.
Of May, and so that's all going to be online. It's being co-organized with 100 School, who are pros at organizing build weekends, and the idea is that on the Friday there are going to be a bunch of inspiration sessions led by different tools such as WeWeb and I think Zapier as well, and then over the weekend you build your product, you show it to the world on Sunday, and then there'll be some judging that takes place over the next few days, and we will announce the winners at the conference. And there are also going to be some tool specific prizes, so like the best app built with a specific tool, and you'll get like a bunch of credits and stuff like that. So I think we're expecting at least 300, if not 500, if not more people to take part. So it's going to be a pretty epic build weekend, and I think the weekend after is the world's biggest hackathon run by Bolt. So this is a really good chance to warm up and get some practice with your vibe coding or whatever tool you choose to use for the build. So that's pretty exciting, and thank you to 100 School for helping to organize that.
Yeah, that is. I'm really so excited to see what people make with that, especially having a whole weekend and all these exciting new tools that have come out. So people, I think, can find out more about that at buildweekend.com, right? And I think you can sign up there and get involved. But it's free to enter and participate, and it's going to be great to see what everyone makes and who's going to win. So that's one really exciting thing that's added. Which is happening, so that's the weekend before the conference, so 17th, 18th May, and then the conference is the week after on the 22nd. But we have actually added something on the 21st, which is some new workshops, Kieran, hasn't it? So we've added a couple of additional workshops, which happened the day before the main conference, and they're kind of smaller, more intimate, on a bunch of different topics. If you want to kind of go deeper into stuff.
Yeah, we figured that some people are going to be traveling to get to London to come to the conference, so we may as well give them the opportunity to do some deeper learning, professional development if they're coming as part of their company. So we've got some really interesting workshops on things like building AI agents using Bubble, or building AI agent flows using other tools. So we've got 2 workshops on AI agents. We've got one on building mobile apps, and I think one on building Glide apps as well. So a good range of stuff. You could do all 4 of them, or you can just pick and choose the ones you want to focus on. But those tickets are linked for sale on the createwith.com website.
Yep. So you can head over to createwith.com, and all those 4 sessions are just listed on there, and you can get your kind of ticket for those as well. So if you can just get a ticket to those workshops. So if you can't make the main conference on the 22nd, then you can just get a ticket for a workshop on the 21st. But those are really fantastic. We've got some fantastic uh, hosts running those sessions as well. So if you head over to the website, you can see all about those. But yeah, I can't wait to see that. I think this is the first year where we've kind of started kind of expanding the conference to be doing things over a couple of days. So not just the workshops, we've also added, we're doing a kind of a pre-party as well, which is going to be happening on that evening on Wednesday the 21st as well. And obviously we've kind of done a bit of an upgrade to the after conference party as well, which is going to be happening near the venue after the conference. So lots of exciting stuff happening. So yeah, if you haven't got your ticket yet, they really are selling out really fast compared to last year. This really is going to be way bigger than last year. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, the advanced tickets are still available for only £99 on createwith.com. So head over there and take a look. But we could cross over into taking a look at some of the kind of visual development news and AI news that's happened over the last couple of weeks. And one thing that stands out was Toddle's rebrand, which kind of was a bit of it came out of the blue to me a bit, and it's really exciting news. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, Kieran?
Yeah, so Toddle were one of the first sponsors of last year's conference, No Code UK, and they were absolutely fantastic. We love the team. They have a really great product. But yes, really interestingly, out of nowhere, we noticed that they have completely rebranded from Toddle, and they are now called Nordcraft, the web development engine. Which is really interesting in the whole context of how we've seen a lot of brands moving away from no code completely and kind of professionalizing themselves, I guess. So a lot of them have moved away and turned into things like visual development builders and AI powered, and you see a lot of these terms. And I feel like, yeah, Toddle moving from being like a no code development platform to being a completely different name, different brand, and a different value prop is, yeah, super interesting. And I think it just shows how this terminology is changing. And indeed, we have, I don't know if anyone will have noticed, but we have removed most of the use of the phrase no code from the Create With website, which is funny considering last year it was literally called No Code UK, and now it's an AI and visual development conference. But yeah, what do you think about all this move? Do you think it's purely like semantics, or is there actually any kind of real changes going on?
Well, I think it's all driven by the core underlying like transformation driven by AI. Like that's the thing that's really made all this happen. Because I know over the years there's been lots of talk about the no code name and it not being ideal. But I feel like it is over the last year where AI has just completely kind of blown up that term, and we're really seeing it disappear everywhere from newsletters to tools and the way they talk about themselves. But I think it's actually great because, as we've seen with the conference this year, there are a lot more people interested in building things with AI, and for whatever reason, that the terminology of no code, it never got that mass market appeal that AI has got. It never crossed over really. It felt like from kind of like a founder or builder kind of persona into mass adoption. So that's why I've been so excited with the changes that we made with pivoting to focus on AI, and we've seen others do it as well. Like you mentioned, Bubble, they pivoted their kind of terminology to be around visual development with AI, and we're just seeing that more and more. And yeah, I think it's a great thing. It's just opening up to a much bigger addressable market. There's just so many more people who can probably use these AI tools. Not only do they make everything easier, there's even no code tools often had a big learning curve to get in there. And with AI generated stuff, you can often just start with a sentence or two. Yes, there is a lot to learn, but it's very accessible to get started with, which I think maybe is why it's caught caught more people's imagination. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting to see Toddle's kind of repositioning there, and yeah, kind of indicative of what we've seen with a couple of other tools.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not forgetting our roots. I think like no code is definitely here to stay, but it is in a different format from what we've seen before. It's not going to be necessarily so much drag and drop. I think there will always be a visual aspect because you are, for the most part, designing visual things, software that people are going to look at and use in some way. And yes, maybe your app is just going to be a blank screen with a single like type in your prompt in the middle input, like many apps are these days. But you still want to be able to design and look at what you're building, unless you're vibe coding like server functions or something, in which case, yeah, there won't really be any visual aspect to it. But I think for the most part, the kind of things people want to build and the way people understand complex situations is they want to visualize it. That's why something like N8N is so attractive, and that's why it goes viral all the time, because you can see these like complex looking workflows doing things and you can kind of understand what's happening. So yeah, I don't think any of the visual side is going to go away, which is why I think visual development is a very good term to describe it, and I've always thought that, which is why I bought vizdevs.com years ago, because I was thinking that is the best term for no code to pivot to. But yeah, it's all happening so fast. Within the past few months, we've seen almost all the major platforms ditch that term, and I'm still hanging on to my Twitter handle, NoCodeLife, and nocodelife.com. But yeah, maybe that'll change soon. I don't know.
Vibe Code Life is incoming. Yeah, yeah. But I think you're completely right that the goal is still the same. I think no code was always about trying to get more people building software without necessarily having to write the code by hand. And I think a lot of that like philosophy is still there. It's really kind of just broadening out a bit more with AI, and because it is so much easier to get started. And like I think what we all want to see is more people building software and building custom stuff for themselves, because like the world does need more automation and more software. There's still millions of Excel spreadsheets out there doing stuff that could be really nicely designed SaaS apps. So the more people that are able to do them, the better, I think. So super interesting and exciting to see all of that evolve. And I'm sure within the next year, it's going to be unrecognizable again. Because I think, it's kind of a reminder, like you just said, last year it doesn't feel like a year ago. We were just gearing up to do a conference called No Code UK. And this year it feels like it's quite a different landscape that we're operating in. So I am glad that we kind of did make that change. I think it has been right. And like with the conference this year, we've got lots more people coming and from a wider variety of backgrounds, which I think is fantastic. Like we've got a lot more people coming who are working in bigger like big corporations, for example, who want to incorporate AI into their workflows and learn how to do that. And we've got we've also grown the other segments still with founders and agencies as well. But yeah, a broadening out of people coming and the kind of profiles of people coming, which is really exciting, and different skill levels as well, which we've tried to cater for in the conference. Whether you're just getting started or you're kind of at the more advanced level, there's going to be something for everyone there. There was some other AI news since our last episode, I think. So there's been some change. OpenAI came out with yet more models. I don't know if anyone's seen the memes going around of like the OpenAI models page now, but there are so many on there. It is getting quite crazy to like actually pick which one is best to use for which scenario. And I think the big news that came out was the OpenAI O3 kind of series of models. I think what for me was actually interesting and useful about them, especially with kind of I've used them on a couple of projects since they come out, is they're obviously trained with agentic use cases in mind. So I don't know, we've probably all seen those kind of crazy prompts that people often had to write that were like, I'm going to get fired from my job if you don't do this, this, and this, like trying to get the AI to really stick to an instruction. And you don't have to do that anymore with these new models. They really trained to follow simple instructions very clearly. And there's also new guidance about where you place your instructions in the prompts before or after data and all that kind of stuff. So I think OpenAI have been a bit clearer with explaining how to use these models, especially for agentic use cases. And again, the mini series of it, or the Nano, I think is it O3 Nano, is super cheap. And from my testing at doing kind of very simple little agents, it's perfect. So I'm going to be using that O3 Nano model for quite a lot of very high volume stuff. And it is worth noting, I'm not using it, but it depends on your use case. But if you do opt in to allowing OpenAI to train based on your kind of API requests, you can get up to 1 million tokens back free a day or something like that as credit. So if you allow them to train on your API requests, you basically can use the API for free, which for some use cases is going to be fine. If it's not, like user data or anything particularly sensitive, you might be fine with letting them do that. So that's definitely worth checking out. But I thought those were probably my top kind of things from those announcements. I know there's been lots of other tweaks that they've been making to the 4.0 model that a lot of people have been writing about. I think it's really unhelpful that they keep changing existing models and keeping the number the same. I find that kind of weird that they're not, like, why isn't it incrementing, like with these changes that they're making to it, which are completely changing its outputs and its attitude. But yeah, I think the O3 ones have been pretty good.
I mean, I like it when they make a change to the models where they get better and you didn't have to do anything and suddenly it's better. But obviously, one person's better is going to be another person's worse. And I have noticed that, so like some of the image generation for 4.0, which was amazing a few weeks ago, now it's pretty ropey sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I want back the one from a few weeks ago. And also with Typoro, the LinkedIn writing tool that I'm working on, like I was using, so I had it so it was generating both with our fine-tuned GPT model, but also it would generate an alternate post with Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And when I put that in there, I did it because Claude was giving me better responses, better writing, more natural writing than I was getting even from our fine-tuned GPT model. However, in the last couple of weeks, Claude is just coming out with some utter rubbish, like drivel. It's terrible. It's just making up loads and loads of stuff out of nowhere, and it's really, really bad. But I haven't changed anything. The prompt is exactly the same. They've just done something to the model, a little tweak, and it's just resulted in this massive loss of quality, which is, really annoying. So I'm basically going to have to take it out of the tool just because it's just embarrassingly bad. But then, it might get better again in a few weeks, who knows. So that kind of makes it difficult to build consistent flows, and also makes stuff like AI agents seem a bit further away in terms of like being able to rely on them. If you've got an employee who's, one day is good and then the next day comes in, they got a massive hangover and they start doing really random stuff, you're not going to be able to trust them. I think there's going to have to be something that helps the AIs to stay consistent, and maybe that is, maybe all the platforms will build in some kind of quality control AI that checks the outputs and ensures they're consistent. I don't know, but they definitely need, I think, a bit more constraints and controls in place.
Definitely, and it's something I've been reading about quite a bit lately, actually, that in terms of product management, one of the skills that any good product manager is going to need is the ability to write evals for AI, basically to do exactly what you're saying. So you can run an eval against a different model or a different AI and check the outputs for consistency. That, I think, that is going to be, and I think it's something we should actually cover a bit in the future as well as how to do these evals and how to make them, because I completely get where you're coming from, and I'm experiencing that as well. When you're swapping between different AI providers or different models, you can get radically different outputs. And how do you measure that? That's something that's something that we're all going to need to do more and more, especially as these AIs are changing in a never-ending way, like every week. So you're going to need to run these kind of evaluations and see, am I getting the same output this week as I did last week? The model number might not have changed, and you might be getting different outputs. And how do you measure that without having a test? So I think that's something that we can definitely cover a bit more in the future. Because I've been reading more and more about that, and I do agree. As a lot of jobs become more dependent on AI, like product management, I'm particularly interested in, the skill set is changing, and being able to write these evals and run them and look at the outputs and stuff, it's going to be more and more important. That's definitely one that we'll have in the future. But on your point of Claude as well, and I've definitely noticed that in the change from 3.5 Sonnet to 3.7. I read a lot of stuff on Twitter about people. I kind of tend to ignore a lot of the stuff I see on Twitter or X about AI, because I feel like every time anything changes, everyone goes, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing thing ever." But actually, in using it, I've experienced what you've mentioned and what a lot of people have said as well, that the new model is almost too enthusiastic about doing more, and like in doing more, it goes beyond what you wanted it to do. So that is kind of, I found that a bit frustrating that you can't go back. And in fact, myself, I've switched to using Gemini 2.5 preview for all my code generation. For that reason, and for the other reason as well, was I don't know if Claude changed Anthropic behind the scenes changed their context windows when they introduced all that new premium level pricing for like hundreds of dollars a month. But I was finding I'm constantly hitting the limits of context windows, and it refusing to finish off bits of code, which is just insanely annoying when you're trying to do stuff, that it will just stop in the middle of generating something. And since I've switched to Gemini 2.5, the preview, it can generate thousands of lines of code that work flawlessly. So I mean, I think over the last month or two, I've switched from Claude. Then I tried Grok for a bit. Grok was awesome. Then I was back with Claude, and now I'm over with Gemini. So it just shows you, like, you do move around, like, with who's got the best context window, the best quality outputs. I've definitely found myself kind of trying all these different models. But yeah, I think the only way of working out which one works for you is to try them and see what kind of outputs you get. But yeah, it's interesting times for sure.
Is Gemini free?
It is at the moment, yeah. So I'm using it through the kind of the web UI that's very much like ChatGPT. I think the thing I would say about the web UI is I think it's got a fantastic canvas mode. So the code comes out in a lovely code editor, and it's also got a lovely kind of Google Docs type looking UI as well. But if you use it over the API, there is an insanely generous free kind of allowance with it as well. So from me being kind of super pessimistic on Google's AI capabilities maybe 2 or 3 months ago, because after trying them, I wasn't super impressed. I think over the last month since this 2.5 preview has come out, I'd find myself trying it, and it works and delivers, and especially with very, very big context window things, and it's free. So I really, really recommend trying it, particularly if you're doing like vibe coding stuff. It can generate way bigger artifacts than Claude can. So it's definitely worth checking out.
That's very interesting. Have you tried using it with Bubble via the API and getting it can Bubble like parse JSON from it like it can with Claude?
To be honest, I don't actually do any AI directly in Bubble anymore. I always use Cloudflare workers for that. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm using it in Cloudflare Workers, and it's fairly interchangeable with OpenAI. I think it supports the same like API structure, so
Mm.
it will do things like support the new streaming mode in Bubble, for example. I think without any problems. Um, so yeah, it's definitely worth a try, and very very generous, and it's multimodal as well, so you can send it images and text and all that kind of stuff. It works really well, so definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. It'd be good if it did work with Bubble because I did a decoded session with Tom Wesolowski recently, and he was showing how to build AI agents in Bubble. Um, and so I'm really keen to try building one, just to see like what you can do with it, because I'm sure there are going to be some advantages to building it in Bubble versus building it in something else like N8N.
Definitely, and I think I still am using Bubble as the core of everything. Like we've said before, I still think it's, if you're doing like vibe coding type stuff, yeah, I still connect everything back into Bubble for that reason. I think
Mm.
it's got that fantastic workflow model and the whole UI around everything, which is really good. And of course, they did. We haven't really fully covered it, but they did launch this kind of new streaming mode, which I've kind of experimented a bit. And what that basically means is that when you do a call to an AI, instead of having to wait for that whole call to process and bringing you back a big block of text, it'll deliver one word at a time, which is it's nice for some use cases. So if you're making a chatbot, it's useful. For me, I'm still trying to get it to bring back blocks at a time. For my use cases, I kind of want to bring back a block of JSON, show that message as a whole, and then show another message or update figures on a dashboard, that kind of thing. I'm not particularly interested in showing, like live text rendering, but for some use cases that'll be a really interesting development, because that only came out about a week ago. So yeah, it's great that Bubble are supporting more AI functionality in the tool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really excited about streaming and wanted it, but yeah, I built a few chatbots and I feel like they're okay without streaming. I mean, it is a nice user experience, but it's not too bad just having a little loading thing or a thinking icon, unless obviously it's like returning loads and loads of text, in which case it's quite nice to have it streaming, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to trying that out and doing some more stuff in Bubble. I was thinking the other day that the thing that's missing from vibe coding, which I think this is my prediction, my hot prediction for the future, is that I think there are going to be some frameworks that are released that are kind of like, Ruby on Rails or React or whatever these other frameworks are that people write code in, but that are specifically designed for AI generated code, and it will just put guardrails around what the AI writes and ensure that they are building default secure apps out of the box, that they have good SEO and things like that, rather than just tell the AI, okay, you're using this language, but do whatever you want when you write it, and then it just comes out with fairly unpredictable results. And we've seen like apps getting hacked because there's no security unless you say to it, please make this app secure, and then maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So I think there are going to be some like standards or frameworks that are released that AIs are going to be trained specifically to use, and I guess like Bolt, Lovable, and Replit and stuff will probably be leading the way in that stuff. But yeah, I think that's definitely needed. Just as I've seen from my own Bubble boilerplate, like having the boilerplate there ready to go with a lot of this stuff already built in and security and stuff built in and all documented, it just makes such a big difference. And so like I've just been doing this bullet launch bootcamp with a load of people who are all building their own apps, and the quality of the outputs, even though it was only 4 weeks long, the quality of the final apps is just so much higher than you would get if you said, okay, start from a blank Bubble app and start building. Like, they all look professional and they all have security and all these like, you know, admin, team management functions and invites and things like that. They all have them built in from the start. And I think, yeah, whoever does that for vibe coding will be doing pretty well. But I don't think you can vibe code that yourself. You'd need to be a coder to build that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely agree. I think one thing I saw that was very encouraging, I think it was from Lovable, was that they kind of did a deeper integration with Superbase that was trained on kind of Superbase's row level security best practice, so that when you vibe code something on Lovable now and use a Superbase database, it knows and builds it with proper row level security and stuff like it knows how to do it. I think it's a lot of tools now are releasing these kind of llm.txt kind of files that describe how to use Superbase or whatever for an AI, so that it uses it in the best way. Because yeah, otherwise you get hallucinations and it can kind of go off all over the place. The other kind of framework that I've seen used quite a bit, and I think even Bubble use it in their AI generated apps, is Tailwind, that kind of forces the app to use the Tailwind like UI structure, so it's not just using random bits of different kind of frameworks, Bootstrap here and Material here. It's all using Tailwind, so you have some at least predictability about what the output is going to look like, rather than it just kind of doing whatever it likes. So yeah, I think we'll see probably more of those, like you say, more frameworks that are designed with LLMs in mind, so that they place kind of restrictions on the output that mean its quality, and not so, you know, every time you press the button you're getting a different output. Like, you want to get that consistency of look. And certainly for me, or anyone like building a SaaS app, if you build 2 pages in the app, you want them to follow the same kind of best practice, whether that's on the UI or how the back end is put together or whatever, or security. Like, you want every part of your app to have been done in the same way, and for that to happen, you've got to have these kind of frameworks to kind of enforce it, I guess. So yeah, it's going to continue to evolve, I guess.
Yeah, so we're getting this interesting situation where the AI app generators, which can at the moment do anything they want almost, will be more and more constrained in their scope, and the no code app builders are trying to like open themselves up so that AI can do more stuff. And so at some point they're going to meet in the middle at this kind of happy medium where it doesn't have too much power but it doesn't have too many constraints either. So yeah, it's quite interesting to think about anyway, but who knows what it's going to look like.
That's it, and I can't wait to follow along with it and hear more about it at the conference. I think we've got a couple of sessions that are going to touch on this, so like building agents or designing in the context of AI and all that kind of stuff. So very, very exciting. But yeah, thank you for a great episode. We're just coming up around our 30 minutes here. So yeah, I think that's it for this week. So again, if you haven't got your ticket yet, honestly, please do take a look at createwith.com. We've got so much happening, whether it's the build weekend. So if you can't attend in person, check out buildweekend.com and join in those kind of AI or visual development building sessions to build your app and win all those cool prizes. And then check out the createwith.com website for not only those extra in-person workshops that we've added on the 21st, but the conference on the 22nd, and of course all the amazing social stuff that we're doing around the conference. Pre-party, post-party. I think we've got a very, very awesome location for our post-party that we're going to be revealing imminently, I think, but it is I'm trying to think of a good hint. It's going to be all aboard for a fantastic floaty experience for the after party. So that's going to be really fun, and we're doing loads of stuff for all of that. So yeah, under a month to go, so this is your kind of final call for advance tickets for 99 quid. I think it's a pretty good deal for everything you get, so definitely check it out. That's it for this week. Any final bits that I might have missed, Kieran?
No, just echoing what you said about that. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to be able to travel over for the conference from wherever you are, or you're in the UK, yes, come down. It's going to be super friendly, and we would love to like meet you in person and chat about all the things we normally chat about. But yeah, it's definitely for £99. I think the amount you're going to learn is going to be, and the amount of inspiration and ideas you'll come away with is like worth every penny. I mean, that's not much money. You couldn't do much else with £99, but for this, I think you could come away with a whole new career. Who knows?
Definitely. I think like both of us have kind of completely moved careers into this space, and like we're hoping to help loads more people transition into more AI related stuff, because it's certainly not boring
Yeah.
and it's always changing. So yeah, very, very exciting. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening, and check out that createwith.com site for more info, but we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.